We've got new details out in Spartanburg County where state officials are responding to a 5-month-long investigation into the death of this little boy right here, 6-year-old Aydon. He passed away from Benadryl overdose on October 30th. The Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office says that one of his guardians gave him enough Benadryl to kill an adult man. Now, Sarah Stewart is charged with homicide by child abuse and unlawful neglect. Christopher Stewart, also on your screen, is charged with unlawful neglect of a child. Officials say that Sarah Stewart admitted she gave Aydon the Benadryl because he was, quote, hyperactive. Sarah Stewart was denied bond, meaning she will stay in jail for now, and Christopher Stewart was given bond and has since been released. And we did learn that Aydon was not the biological child of both of these suspects. The Department of Social Services released this statement saying, in part, quote, the individuals in question in the death of Aydon Quinn have never been licensed to foster parents in the state of South Carolina. Through the Department of Social Services, the placement of this child with these individuals was not facilitated by DSS in any way and was done privately. Now, the Sheriff's Office says that the previous reports of abuse were made to DSS, and we are working to learn more about those reports.